Welcome to the Two-Man Advantage podcast. My name is Darrin Carlo, coming to you live from the Two-Man Advantage studios. It's me and Mr. Kevin McShan. Mr. Kevin McShan, how are you?
Good afternoon, Darrin. I'm good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. So how are things? And I should say it's great to be back on the podcast, and we're ready to talk some sports. So how about we talk some Detroit Tigers baseball?
Absolutely. Best start since 1985, so 30 years. They are off to a 7-1 start, and they're hitting the baseball, which is nice to see.
Absolutely. You mentioned 7-1 start, and there was a lot of questions and concerns about this team going in to the season. Brad Ausmusson is in his second year as manager, and obviously the bullpen is still a concern, and losing a great starting pitcher like Max Scherzer would really, handcuff the Tigers going into the season. But early on, they haven't been showing any signs of that. Shane Green has really stepped up and took that role left by Scherzer. In the first 8 games, what have you really noticed about these Tigers that really stand out in your mind?
Well, early on, the first week of the season, I've noticed the production from the bottom half of the lineup, certainly. Avila seems to be hitting the baseball on a consistent clip. Anthony Ghost has been a nice surprise, both from an offensive perspective and the speed that he brings to the lineup. Cespedes hit in all 4 of the first 4 games, and certainly their outfield defense is a lot faster with the addition of Cespedes and Ghost out in the outfield. But certainly Shane Green has been a nice surprise, as you said. Last night he threw 8 scoreless innings, only giving up 3 hits, and J.D. Martinez also leads the league in home runs, so they're off to a nice start.
Now, you mentioned J.D. Martinez leading the league. He's actually, I looked at the stats today, he's in the top 10.
In the top 10?
Yes, so I hate to correct you, but yeah, so he's on a good track to reproduce all that great success he had last year. But another thing about the Tigers, their success this year will rely heavily on Justin Verlander, and if his health is at the old Justin Verlander, not the one that we saw last year or the year before, do you think him putting on more weight, putting on more muscle, and now he has this injury, and now he's on the 15-day out for the first time in his career, do you think Justin Verlander will have a bounce-back season?
Well, if the Tigers want to go to where they want to eventually go to, he's going to have to. He's getting paid still as a dominant pitcher. He's getting paid for past performance, but if the Tigers want to eventually end up to where they want to be, they're going to need Verlander to come back to form, and he had a solid spring training. He threw the ball well, and certainly the injury was a setback for him, and certainly something you don't want to go into a season with one of your best pitchers or one of your premium pitchers, sort of the ace of the staff from years past, on the injury list. So to answer your question, circling back to it, I honestly don't know, because we haven't seen him pitch for an extended period of time, for a long portion of time. I know that he recently participated in a simulation game, and all signs were pointing in a positive direction. So hopefully the Tigers can get what they need out of Verlander, because they need him to sort of anchor that staff along with David Price.
Absolutely. Very good points you brought up. Let's talk about the Tigers bullpen.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, exactly. The Tigers bullpen, obviously a major concern going into the offseason, especially you still have the rocky road that is Joe Nathan in the ninth, but he is currently on the DL.
On the disabled list, yeah.
And having now Joakim Soria filling in for that starter, that closer role for the Tigers. That's so far so good when it comes to that, because I think we're getting to see the real Soria and not the broken down version we had last season. So that's going to be a good consistent out of Soria and Nathan. Who in that bullpen do you see stepping up this year?
Between those two?
No. I mean, but besides those two, who else should really have a bounce back or a really breakthrough year?
Well, they took a flyer on Java Chamberlain. We'll see how that goes. They also brought Albuquerque back. But the one that I'm circling in or penciling in is Gorzolani, Tom Gorzolani. So that will have to be their sixth and seventh guys will have to be key for them, as you can expect the starting pitching staff to constantly give you 7 to 8 innings. I mean, it's nice, but my question with the bullpen would be, are the Tigers better off without Joe Nathan and making Soria the full-time closer?
Exactly. You brought up a good point, but like maybe this was just a fluke of a season that Joe Nathan had last year. Maybe he has come back down to earth. I know he only had one. Okay, let's call it a save in the home opener.
Out save?
Yeah. 1 out save.
That doesn't classify as a save, but yeah.
But he gets out there, he gets work. But besides, the bullpen and the offense are the big concerns for the Tigers. So hopefully, so far, so good.
The offense.
The offense has been raking the ball.
Not so much the bullpen, but the offense has been a nice surprise.
Absolutely.
Particularly, as I mentioned earlier, the top half of the lineup, it'll be interesting to see how Brad Ausmus platoons that area of the lineup between Anthony Gose and Rajai Davis, because 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the Tigers could be one of the best offensive lineups in all of baseball. So the key for the Tigers to have consistent success is to figure out how to manage a shaky bullpen and making sure that their top hitters or top of the lineup hitters set the table for the middle of the order.
Exactly. Last question on the Tigers topic. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. How does the Tigers stack up in this division, and can they win a 5th straight AL Central title?
Good. You're looking at my notes. I'm kidding.
I always do.
Absolutely. No. The Kansas City Royals have been a nice surprise.
Currently undefeated.
They were in the World Series last year, so I don't know how much of a surprise they really are. But I think Kansas City, when it all comes down to it, will be the Tigers' chief competition. I know Chicago made some moves. They got Abreu and strengthened their bullpen this offseason. But I still like Kansas City to win the division. I just don't trust the Tigers as far as the back end of the bullpen team. And because of Kansas City's bullpen, I would look at them as the division winners, but it'll come down between Detroit and Kansas City. What about you?
I was going to agree with you, absolutely. Kansas City is a tough team out there, especially having that World Series, under that belt, under their belt. But then you have to look at the other teams. I know Cleveland didn't really put up a good effort against the Tigers, but everyone's picking Cleveland to run away with this division, or at least win it by a couple games. So I'm not giving up on Cleveland yet. And Detroit, I know they look good right now. There was times last year with this Detroit Tiger team where they looked fantastic. They looked unbeatable, and then they lose a whole bunch of games after they went on this incredible winning streak. So let's just take it game by game. Hopefully, if they get the quality pitching there and the bullpen, I cannot stress this enough, is the bullpen actually steps up and does the job and shuts the door, then I see the Tigers walking away with the 5th straight division championship. And also, I got to say, early on, I know it's early on in the season, but the hitting is there.
It's there for now.
It's there for now. And usually, I'm not stereotyping, but, Latin players, they play better in the heat. And I
yes,
know,
they do.
And I know it's, we're in April, we're not in the dog days of summer yet, but for them to, start raking the ball where they are, it's Cespedes doing his thing, JD Martinez doing his thing, Miguel Cabrera looking like Miguel Cabrera. If they can continue this and keep, the hitting up and just keep on giving their pitchers run support, I can see them, really extending this lead in this division. It will be definitely a two horse race with them in Kansas City.
Depending on what Cleveland does. If Cleveland's really for real.
Yeah, there's 2 possible 3s. So either Kansas City, Cleveland, or Detroit. Right now, Kansas City looks unstoppable, but so does Detroit. So we'll see. It should be an interesting, first couple months of baseball.
Should be. It's back.
It's back. Thank God. All right. We'll come back. We'll take a little break, and we're going to discuss the Masters and the new Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Yeah.